Well, happy Monday, and it's Monday night because we ran into a few logistical issues, as it were, and we're coming to you live from the campus of UTPA, which of course is where this guy made his bones as a great sports writer for the university paper.
Old stomping grounds.
Yeah, indeed it is. Well, we're down to the Final Four, my friend.
Yeah.
You know, a wise coach always said, when you're playing football in December, you're good.
Yeah, although these days December should be still November.
Yeah, this is true. With all, hey, look, more districts, more teams, more rounds, more brackets, and off week. But still, you know, at this point in time, you got 4 teams left from the Valley.
Yeah, you're still playing football, and that's what you were doing.
Everyone else is hooping. Everyone else is playing basketball.
Which we'll get to.
Nothing. Yeah, we will. We promise. Finally, we're going to get to basketball. Well, let's take them in descending order in terms of districts. But before we do, I want to make a point, which I failed to make the other day on whatever network the other one is, Fox. Everybody said, well, who's better, 31-5A or 32-5A? So 31-5A had the early buzz and a lot of buzz. 32-5A ended up having 4 teams with 9 wins at least. They had the bottom feeding group was 11-39, not very good. You know what district had more wins? 35A. I'm here to tell you that the teams from the district with the highest winning percentage and the 2 surviving 5A members, by the way, 35A. The answer to the riddle.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking on the way over here. I was like, you know, we talked all season long about 31-5A.
And with good reason.
Yeah, no, I know. And then there's only 2 teams, and they're both in 35.
That's right. So what do we say? Those teams in Murderers Row beat up on each other? And I don't think they were fresh going into the playoffs.
No, they weren't. They weren't. They were actually banged up, and what are you going to do about it?
And meanwhile, the 30 teams, Sherryland and North, have survived, and they've done a good job. So let's start with the Rattlers. I mean, that's the biggest game on people's minds. Boy, did they put a hurting on Harlingen or what?
It was never really a ball game, and to be quite frank, the 2 points Sherryland scored.
Well, they gave them 168 yards. They forced 5 turnovers, and they did what they always do, which is score a ton of points. Harlingen had 1 first down during the period in which Sherryland scored 21 points and put it away. I think it was 28-0 at the half.
Yeah, they really couldn't get things going, and it was sad, but I mean, it happens. You're a kid, you're frustrated, and things were getting a little out of control. But Coach Adame really got things going, and you know they did something I'd never seen before. They
met at the center of the field and buried the hatchet in each other's heads
during the fourth quarter. You're just like, well, I mean, so they did it, but the game ended like that, and there was really never a system of this. Was all of it.
187 yards. We've said it before on here. He doesn't have to run a lot to be effective, but he can.
Yeah,
he can. He's quick. He hits the hole. That's right. They didn't throw the ball that great, but they made some big plays.
Exactly, and they stopped Harlingen. That's their defense.
And that's where let's begin this discussion of the Madison game on the defense, because they give up 14 points a game. I think it's 6 times less than 10 points per game. You know, the games that they've played, it's been a good defense to go with the offense. Yeah. Maybe that's why they're number 1 in the Valley, is that they're good at everything.
All around, they score on every single team, and that's what you want.
I like their fast secondary. I like their active linebackers. I like that Marcos Villarreal kid, that little muscle-bound guy, number 60, down low. They might be susceptible to a pounding team. Madison's going to have some pretty big linemen. So over a period of time, you know, finesse on defense and quickness, you got to come up and hit somebody sooner or later. So we'll see whether they can do that. Let's talk a little bit. Go ahead.
I really think they can keep up with it. Madison, here's their schedule. They've got 2 losses, 1 to Steele, and
best team in the world.
The other one's Smithsonian Valley.
Steele and Smithson Valley are 2 of the best 10 teams in the state of Texas. So the only 2 times they've lost were against amazing teams. So they're a step below them.
Exactly, but I really do think that they can run on them, and they might be able to get some plays in. You know what I mean? And they've been doing it all season, so why not now?
Well, and that's the key. You just do what you do. You don't worry about whether it's Madison or whether it's Rice or whether it's who knows where, the Australian rules football team. Just go do what you do. 47 points now off the Valley record of 7-13. If they can get 47 against Steele, Madison. Against Madison. Yeah. Wow. Oh, boy. Well, I mean, you know, stranger things have happened.
So, yeah, it could be turned into a shootout where both defenses don't show up.
It might turn into a shootout. You know, Madison's got a better defense than it did last year. This is the team that in the 4th round beat Harlingen, 42-28. Yeah. It was nip and tuck for a while. So, you know, you just go up there and you play your heart out.
Yeah, and I really do think it's going to be a good game. Not the fact, actually, that it's not in the San Antonio area really helps them a lot.
I agree, man.
Yeah.
Corpus and Kingsville, the Valley's always done well
Yeah.
there. We've got some good mojo there. It's definitely going to be exciting. Is that a Friday game?
Yeah.
So that's Friday.
Friday night, 7:30, Buccaneer.
Buccaneer Stadium. I've been there many times. I'm sure you have.
fun,
Man.
yeah.
It's a nice place. So I would say, what I've been saying the last couple of days is that I think Sharyland's about a touchdown underdog. Madison is one of those teams that's made some deep playoff runs. Of course, Sharyland has too. In 2009, they went 3 deep. They ended up playing a really good Clark team. I think they lost 49-21. They also went 3 deep in 03. So this is a team that is 52-8 over the last 5 years. It's a heck of a program. This is their shot, man.
It really is, and if they get past this, I would hope. I mean, man.
O'Connor Alexander.
You know, but hold on. But sports writers, they're never satisfied with anything, and I would hope that they would finally get some sort of recognition. From being a Valley team.
I think also if they happen to beat Madison, then that places them squarely in, say, a top 10 or 12 or 14 teams of all time for a single season. They've done well. They've got great numbers. They've dominated the Valley. But in order to get into that 61 Donna, 55 Westlaco, 89 Harlingen, 90 Mission, you know that group, they're going to have to win this game. Because if you win a third playoff game, only a dozen teams have ever done it in the Valley. 12. So you guys can become the Baker's dozen to 13. I'm not scared of this game. Sometimes when we play a Valley team plays an upstate team, I'm kind of scared. I ain't scared. I mean, I know Madison has good athletes.
They do.
They still got Warford.
Yeah.
They still got Taylor. These cats are going D1. But, 2 teams beat them, and a couple of teams got close. Now, Sharyland's 12-0. They've never won 12 games, so it's a record-setting season for them, but they're not satisfied.
No,
not at all,
not
man.
at all.
I think they knew they were going this far.
Yeah, the way I really did see them going 3 deep. But now this is the test, obviously. But the way they've been playing all year, they want nothing but.
They want to go to state.
They want people's respect.
Yeah, well,
they want people's respect, and they want to get there, and they want to do it. And
if they
prove
win,
everybody wrong.
If they win, they need to get some votes for the top 10 in the state. I mean, why wouldn't they at 13-0? They're already in the Sweet 16 here.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to the other 5A matchup, and I'll turn the page here like Bob Seeger used to do. North and Steele. Now, Edinburgh North at 10-2 and Steele at 12-0. On first glance, it appears to be a one-sided matchup.
It really does. And I've looked at it and looked at it and looked at it, thinking, well, maybe they can do this, maybe they can do that.
How many points has Steele scored? 535. That's quite a bit.
Justin Stockton.
Oh, that guy's great. He's only a junior too. He's a great running back. This is a Michael Mayle, the receiver they have.
Yeah.
He's a big kid. He can jump. I mean,
They got a big tight end too in Moen.
Yeah.
He's good. Yeah.
So in other words, we're talking about a team here in Steele that was in the state championship last year and lost, and won a state championship 2 years ago. So this is a well-established powerhouse.
I've been reading around, and this year their theme is redemption.
Because they lost the final last year.
They want nothing less than to win the state title. And as much as it pains me to say it, it's really unfortunate Edinburgh North is going to be in their way. Yeah. And I've tried. I've tried.
Like a Rubik's Cube.
There's no other way but, wow, this team can play.
Here's the way. They're going to have to get a ton of luck. So, in other words, Steele's going to have to fumble the kickoff and North takes it in. Steele's going to have to throw up. In other words, the things that can happen in a game. I mean, if you played this game 100 times, and I'm sure Steele will win 95 or 98, so what? Go up, have fun on the trip, let it all hang out, play loose. I'll never forget watching North in their last 3-deep trip, by the way, 2009 against Brandeis in the Alamo Dome. It was 14-14 in the second quarter. North was playing with them, man. Munoz was throwing strikes. Matthew Munoz. They ended up getting beat pretty good down the stretch. But, that really showed me that we can compete with these teams. Now, Steele's a different animal. They beat Madison. And they beat Judson, who, by the way, Judson dropped out last week against O'Connor. They're not that good anymore, are they? That's weird for me, because I grew up thinking Judson was like the fearful horde from the central.
I was talking to a friend earlier, and he was just like, what? Really? Judson? Yeah, man, they're gone.
8-4. I mean, they weren't that good. So the winner gets O'Connor. No, who's the winner get?
The winner, got it right here.
North and Steele, the winner gets who? Let's look it up. That's why we do it on here. North and Steele. It looks like, it's
Brandy's in Del Rio.
Yeah, Brandeis will beat Del Rio like a stepchild, I have a feeling. Brandeis is a good club. That Brandeis group again. Of course, Del Rio, I don't know, man. If you look at it, the last couple of years, they've gone 3 deep. Yeah. They've made it to this level. because they're a good, rugged team. Anyway, who cares about them? Let's talk about the good things that North did against Harlingen South. Because I was there in the rain, and if you saw me trying to shield my stats from the rain, it was an amazing thing. It looked like all the numbers were running like some psychedelic rock film from the 70s.
They didn't want you to know the final tally.
Right, exactly. And you know why? Because it was not much. North gave South 156 yards. They shut down Jaden Taylor in the second half. It was an excellent effort by the Cougars.
That's great. So you were saying that they were having multiple people on Taylor.
Oh, man, listen.
So
yeah,
this is what they have to do against Stockton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just got to execute it, though.
And you know what they do? North does that. North gang tackles. You look at the films, man. There'll be 4 or 5 guys coming to the ball. You know, they're going to see some speed and some size that they haven't seen to date, and they're going to have to handle it. What they can't do is just crater. What I want to see them do is fight and hang on and spit and claw. And I don't care if they have to punch somebody. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying they should, but hey, man, it's football.
Get dirty,
yeah. So
in the trenches.
Yeah. You know, it's an uphill struggle, but they've had a nice season. Obviously, that 10 wins, we've said this a couple times, ties the mark set back in '92 by that group that went 10-0, and then lost to Weslaco in by-district, which I still can't believe 20-some years later. I also still can't believe, as a segue into our third team, I've been waiting for 4 years for Ed Couse to beat Port Lavaca Calhoun, because I was in the stands up there when they had a 21-7 lead on those guys in the playoffs and let it slip away in the second round. It was just an ugly loss. They should have won. They had Eric Nino, one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the Valley. You know, this is redemption for them. That's one of the biggest upsets in many, many years. I'm excited for Ed Couse. They got the magic back.
Yeah, and not only that, so on paper they have to play a less talented.
Well, that Ed Couse team that we're talking about takes on an undefeated San Antonio Brennan team. It's a 4A. They're 12-0. Only in their third year, they went from 0-10 to 7-4 to 12-0.
What else can you ask for? They built the program, and now they're there. But you got to look. The last game, they snuck into that. They won that, you know, with a backdoor. They had 3 big plays, and that's where their scores came from.
Yeah. And defense,
exactly.
Because their calling card is a defense that only gives up 12 points a game. Now, they have been scored on for 52 in their 2 playoff games. It gets harder to stop people in the playoffs because they're all good teams.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why they're still there.
So Brennan, you know, almost an unknown quantity. They played last year in the playoffs and lost to Hayes in by-district. They went 7-4. This year they played in a terrible district. It wasn't very good at all. So I think that Ed Couse has a shot. They got the magic back, man, in Ed Couse. They really do, don't they?
Yeah.
Just like PI.
You know, and it really is great. You know, we're not going to go into what's been going down this season.
Everybody knows. Yeah, everybody knows.
They've just been playing with that little chip on their shoulders, like, you know, we can still do this.
Well, this is a team that from 04 to 08, 55-7. So they're another one of those franchises, them old school teams that they get on a run. They're a dynasty, man.
They're a dynasty.
You know, they've now won 10 games, 7 out of 9 years. I mean, that's going by the rest of the state thinks Ed Couse is 10-2. We know they're 8-4 technically, but we're going to call them 10-2. Basically, they've had 1 down season in 9 years. They've been one of the best teams in the Valley, and this is good. What Ed Couse does is they win in the playoffs. All right, only 1 season. 04. Remember when they lost that game to Cal Allen, the extra point game by district? They should have won 28-27. Other than that, every year they get in, they win a playoff game, and they win against non-Valley teams.
Exactly, and that's the staple that everybody's been following, and that's what people want to see. So now, I really do think, out of all the teams, Ed Couse has the best chance.
Yeah, I cannot disagree, and I feel that way because they have some superior athletes themselves. They're going to see some studs with Brennan, but I'm telling you what. When Brennan gets a look at Isaias Martinez, number 9, they're going to be scared because the dude can go to the house in a drop of a hat. They have 6 or 7 guys who are really great. The only thing that worries me about that Couse is their defense is not very big.
Yeah.
They're fast and they hit and they're mean as dogs. They get fired up, man. They get on you and intimidate you. But they're small. They lost those 2 280-pound. Well, one was 280, one was about 250. These defensive tackles at the beginning of the season, Vera and who's the other guy's name?
It slips my mind, but
Alvin Lofton. He's a good kid, by the way. And so they're kind of going with smaller tackles, right? They don't have a lot of bulk up front. And so Brennan's got more size than they do. But they don't have as much team athleticism and speed. I know they don't. Yeah, Ed Couse is tough, man.
They really are, and I just can't go back.
Eric Morales, too.
Yeah, I mean.
The stick man, that dude is magic. He can make some plays. 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns against PLC.
Having to do this, without a coach, without
I
this,
know,
without
I
that.
know.
I mean.
Hey,
you struggle without a coach no matter what the situation was.
Yeah.
There's no other way around it. I mean, you look at what's going on to the Saints.
Right. If without the coach, that means the continuity is not there, and so it's been difficult. They're riding a wave right now. They're like us against the world. Oh yeah, you think you're gonna do this to us? Well, we're gonna.
And it's a big swell too.
Oh yeah. Hey, I think they can win, and I think that Port Isabel can win too. Bob Seeger, turn the page. You gotta love it. Port Isabel, their first 3 deep since 2004. They're getting back to where they used to be as a program, and boy, it's nice to see. I know for those Tarpon fans.
Man, they got to be excited. Being used to, we're in the playoffs. Making the playoffs was an everyday thing.
Oh man, it was like, how far are we gonna go?
Exactly.
Are we gonna go 4 or 3 or 4 or 5? Nobody's gone more times 3 deep than Port Isabel, man. They're incredible.
Yeah. And so now the question is, how are they going to match up against
Navarro? They're reasonably well. They're not going to be as big. There's no way because Port Isabel is not that big. They're going to be reasonably fast. I think that the problem is going to come with depth. I think that this team they're playing, they've got 2 great running backs. They got a couple of great linebackers. Jaylee Allis is free safety, has 100 tackles. Navarro's 9-2. Port Isabel is now what? 9-3. I think they're both 9-3. So the records are reasonably the same. Navarro was in Wimberley's district, the defending state champion. They lost only by 1 point to Wimberley, who, by the way, was down this year. They've already gotten Belleville beat them. So the bottom line is they're good, but they're not a dynasty. They're not a power like PI. So
they're beatable.
The mojo is with Port Isabel right now. The feeling of, hey, we're going to do this. I've been talking to some guys over there, and my guys that cover 3A, they are high as kites right now, just like Ed Counts. And so that's going to carry them into the game with some momentum to a certain extent. Now, once they get into the game, it's gonna come down to the basics. Now, Navarro is one of these teams that they don't throw very much. I think they've completed 40 passes all year.
So they're gonna run it. So what do? Just hit them.
Well, yeah,
and hit
you got to hit them and you got to tackle.
Yeah, and just keep fundamentals, and that's how you get the game.
This is the time for Jock Giat, our preseason All-Valley guy, to have a big game. Some other guys have overshadowed him to an extent this year. He's been here and there. He's 240, and he's a fast kid, and he's mean as a snake. If he has a huge game, I think he can really control the run in the middle because he plays an end, the defensive end. So Port Isabel, if they win, will play either Belleville or Orange Grove. Okay, Orange Grove is somehow 11-1. I don't respect that team as much as some people do. I think Belleville is going to tear them a new one. Can we say that on TV? Okay, or radio, website, whatever. So it'll probably be Belleville, which is a team of fast athletes. But let us not get ahead of ourselves. Port Isabel and Navarro, I feel like, I think it's an even game. I think it's one of those pick'ems that, who knows?
Yeah.
Whoever just plays better. Port Isabel played great last week, man. 471 yards. 480, 371 rushing. They got ahead, which is what you got to do in the playoffs. You can't fall behind because it don't work that way.
Playing from behind, you're just going to be struggling to get out, and you're just going to
look at the teams that won. Eckhouse, PI, North got ahead 14-0 on South, and Sherryland got ahead. You don't come back in the playoffs the deeper you get because the team you're given a chance to will kill you if you get one problem. And that's what worries me the most about Sherryland and Madison, because Madison's got such game breakers that if you don't score or if you turn it over and they score, they can get another one on you. It's 28-7 before you know it. In other words, Sherryland could find that they get done to them what they've been doing to teams all year. And I sincerely hope that's not the case. And I figure that if the Rattlers can score early, maybe they can hit that 47. What if they get 48 and win 48-45? I said it here first. Would you pick them? Would you pick Sherryland if you had to? I mean, not if you had to as in them, but if you had to make a choice.
Yeah, I would. Because I've seen them 3 times this year, maybe 4, and all they do is score points on all 3 teams. Yeah. They're bound to get points against Madison. Yeah.
Madison gives up 19 a game, better defense than last year. They got that Vincent Taylor, but I was thinking about it. In the spread, a defensive lineman like Taylor, he may not be a factor.
Exactly.
What is he going to do? He's not going to rush the passer, we hope, because Trace don't set up with that. He'll get rid of the ball in a hurry. That's a smart kid at quarterback. So he's not going to let Taylor beat him. He's not going to go cover with some of these guys. Yeah. Another thing worries me about the Rattlers is Estefan Castillo.
Exactly.
If he's not 100%, that's a problem because he's one of the best players in the Valley. He's like Isaias Martinez for Eckouts. He's just a guy who you can go to and maybe he'll go all the way.
But that's the good news about Sherryland, that they've got somebody waiting to step up and just.
They got a lot of kids. Yeah. They got a lot of talent, don't they?
And this has got to be their year to do it. Because
it is their year.
Next year, they're going to have a new school.
They're going to have a new school, but what I heard today is that they're going to continue to I think they're going to play next year as one team. Now, I got to look into
really?
that. But in other words, let's clarify that.
Yeah.
But in other words, this is probably the year. And I heard their JV's unbeaten. So they got talent, man. That team's got. We're going to find out this week if Sherryland can hang with the big boy. They whipped everybody in the valley. They're the best team down here, and that's by a long shot because they dogged Harlingen. They shamed them. All right, I'm just going to tell you straight out. But now you go up, and they come down, and they got D1 athletes, and so we're going to find out. Sherryland's got to play its best game of the year. Period. And if they do, I feel like they can win.
They got D1 athletes as juniors.
Yeah, they do. They have Trace Barrera, but not in baseball. No, you know what? That guy can play a lot of D2 plays as a quarterback. I really feel like he's got size.
Yeah.
Well, so these are our games. I hope that if we had to make a prediction, I think we're going to get one or two.
I would be
maybe three.
I would be confident in saying 50%.
Yeah. Well, I hope so because, man, there's nothing like December football. Yeah. Despite the fact that it doesn't mean necessarily what it used to because the season lasts longer, playing in December means that you are one of the best teams in the Valley. So to all four of these guys who are competing, congratulations so far. Yeah. Right. So now, let's switch gears and do something that we've been warning and complaining about for months. Just a little bit about basketball because that's what we're going to after football's over. It could be over this weekend. God forbid.
You've been hitting...
I've been hitting the Edinburghs pretty heavily, and I can tell you that it's a very competitive group. Starting with the boys, Edinburgh North, I believe, has a chance to win the district. I think Sherryland's going to be strong. Edinburgh Bobcats.
Sherryland upset Memorial.
Yeah, they did. Edinburgh's got a couple of great players. The key to their season is how will the guys fill in behind them. Gabe Rivas, Matthew Garza, Milo Trejo are all returning starters, but after that, it gets a little bit thin. Yeah. So if those fourth and fifth guys, whoever they are, we don't know right now, they're going to have to come up. But North is tough. North is big, man.
That's cool. Yeah.
North has got some size. They got the twins, the Beltrons, plus Aaron Beltron, the third brother. They play great defense. You know what North does now under Rudy Garcia that they didn't used to do? They don't panic. They don't go all crazy and run down and throw the ball away. They run their sets. See, that's what always made EHS a great basketball team. They could, in the last 45 seconds of every quarter, they never lost, okay? Because they always ran the play. They always did the right thing. They made the pick. They made the back cut. They executed. Now North is there. They've had some talent in the past, but they were hully-gully. Yeah. And now they're playing good. Now, Economides is one of those wild card teams. They're going to have a lot of size now that football's over. They're going to have Duarte. They're going to have Teo Ariola, the tight end. Luis Alvarez, the quarterback, got hurt. He's not playing. But I believe Ugo is playing. So when you look at them get off the bus, you're going to be like, golly, these guys are big. They got good guard play. Luis Rocio is a veteran. And Danny Barrientos, he's a point guard. Little Danny B, number 15. Those guys, I think Economides can make the playoffs.
What about their coach there?
They got a new coach, over from football. Nice guy. I think he's really cool, man. The kids like him. So, Lalo Rios went to Vela. And Vela so far, I think, is 2 up and 4 down. I mean, they haven't really done. Can we get about 10 more minutes in here? Sorry about that. That's how you do it when you borrow somebody's building. We're not even going to cut it. It don't matter. Who cares? Yeah. It's talking sports. What do we care? Now, so Vela's got some big kids, but boy, they're woefully inexperienced at their age. I mean, they don't have any. They got like one senior. So in order, and I'm not really predicting because I don't want people to get all mad at me because I don't like that stuff. If you haven't figured it out by now, I want everybody to go 26-0. I'm not, I don't have any favorites. I think North is strongest. I think EHS is close, but no depth. I think Economides, if things come together, they could be hard to beat. And Vela, who knows? I mean, it's their first season, man, so we don't really know.
Coach,
yeah. Well, of course, Lalo, man. Speaking of Pan Am, he played 4 years here. Nobody's played more minutes, I think. And I think he's second in all-time in three-pointers and like 5th in assists. Yeah. Lalo had a good career here.
Yeah, he did.
So, have you been able to see him in Calentina? We're just kind of catching up.
Yeah, I haven't gone up. We've been swamped there at the paper, so we still need to get our gears going. But I mean, Memorial's
good.
Yeah,
Papito's great.
Yeah.
Roe is good.
Just signed on to play golf in Houston.
Yeah. Let me tell you about a guy real briefly from Roe. His name is Alan Martinez, or maybe Alan. I'm not sure. It depends. I'm not quite sure. Big, good-looking kid. 6'2", muscular, can jump. He's got some post moves. I saw him in the summer, and it was like, whoa, who was this cat jumping out of the gym, man? He had a bunch of points the other night. They got Rudy Campos back from last year. Got a couple of new kids as Eleuterio Juarez, which is a very difficult name to say, but I managed to do it. I think Roe is probably the best team in town. Them and Memorial.
Yeah.
Mac Allen scored only 31 points the other day against Gruya. Maybe it was just one of those weekend games that it was kind of sluggish, but man, they're usually pretty good, and I expect them to double that number.
I hope so. I mean, there's obviously a lot of drama going on over there too, but I mean, you would hope they would put up a fight.
Mac Allen always gets these big old 6'5" white dudes out of nowhere, right? So they're going to find some talent.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a good year on the way for McAllen basketball and the boys. Now, let me switch back over to the Edinburgh girls briefly because there's some good things to say. Right now, looks like Edinburgh High was at preseason #1, and they lost to Harlingen. They lost to them twice, by the way. They're doing pretty well. They got the big two. Eileen Martinez is averaging 13. She's a nice scoring guard. She ain't never met a shot she doesn't like. That chick is fearless. She'll put it up from any angle, and she gets to the free throw line a lot, and she makes a lot, too, 70%. And, of course, Micheline Marcelita, I mean, I think she's the MVP of the Valley. She's 5'11", can jump to the moon, working on her perimeter game. She's averaging, 21 and 15. I mean, it's ridiculous. They can't stop her. She got 28 blocks already. Now, it's the same thing as the EHS girls to the EHS boys. Who are going to be those players that we don't know that are going to step up and be counted? Because after them, too, Grisela Curiel is a returning post player. She's a strong kid. She had 21 the other night. You know, if she can score 10 a game, that's going to really help that team. Now, North, on the other hand, had some scoring. Larissa Areola was averaging 19.9 until she got hurt. She's got a foot problem right now and out indefinitely. It gives all those other kids a chance to get in the game and see what they can do. But she was really their only proven scoring option. I'll tell you one thing about the North girls. They've got some rugged, hard-working kids inside. They've got 4 or 5 people that can lay the wood, man. They'll come in and pop you. Dulce Pena will pop you. Yeah. Ashley Serda, there's Savannah Garza. So they've got some good-sized kids who can play. It's just a matter of who will score. Because without Larissa right now, she was also probably the best defensive player in the district. I mean, just a real hard worker and a good athlete. So I just hope she's ready to go for track, because if not, it's going to be very disappointing. The other two teams, Vela's off to a good start. The girls are like 7-2, man. Lottie Zarate, everywhere she goes, she wins. You keep that in mind. I don't know how, well, I was going to say I don't know how they're doing it. I do know how they're doing it. First of all, a great coach. Second of all, Ariel Rodriguez, the point guard, that sophomore, is very good. And they got the transfer. Emily Azabel, who came in from a private school. She's 5'11". She has a big post presence, maybe 5'10". Bottom line is, hey, man, Vela's looking good, man. I can't wait. I think I'm going to see Economides in North on Tuesday, tomorrow. So it's almost today, tomorrow. We're getting on this thing late. Bottom line is we're going to transition into basketball, but we're going to come back next week and definitely, delve into and sort out the whole playoff picture. And, man, I hope we have more than 1 or 2 teams going. Wouldn't that be neat? Because we work hard. Yeah. We deserve it, right? What else is there?
That's about it, really. It's the same old business there. Go to our website, check out our videos.
Have you seen the redesign? Looking good. These guys got some superstars over there, along with Pete. I mean, the guys that do the design, the people are selling ads. We feel strongly about our product. So what we need you to do is spread the word not only about this show, but about the papers in general, the Town Crier, the Edinburgh Review. It's a new concept, guys, all right? The community newspaper model means it's free. We rely on advertising, so if you got anybody, friends with money, tell them to come see us. But we try to tell good news, and we try to get the community aware of the things that are happening in their midst, right?
We'll still be fair.
Oh, yeah, totally, man. I mean,
look,
say what you want. I will try to make everybody look good when they deserve it. What I'll do is just kind of back away a little bit if they don't, and go past them and go around. The bottom line is, if it happens in this news, you'll get it from us. And if it's sports news, you'll get it from us. I really feel like we're doing a good job. Hell, I'm the weak link.
Nah, man. You produced enough for all of us. So
combined, right?
But yeah, we're making it happen. It'll work out, and I have a really strong faith in our crew, which all spent very long nights.
That's the neat thing about it. With Laura Garcia now on board, and Isaac, and all these other guys, we got Pan Am grads and Valley natives working at these papers. So that's another reason to patronize us, because, hey, Pan Am is producing kids that go out and make money and become professionals. I think it's a good lick, man. All right, so let's sign off for Talking Sports for this week. Next time when we come back, we'll talk playoff football, and we'll transition into the round ball. That's what we got for you. Goodbye and good luck. And go to them games. Make a trip.
Corpus and Kingsville.
Corpus and Kingsville. We'll be there, man. It's going to be fun.
It should be.
That's what.